Welcome to Embracing Life Again. I'm Catherine Coffer, transition expert and minister. Together, we'll break through life's toughest barriers, rediscover joy, and start dreaming again. It's time to embrace life fully with purpose, passion, and hope. Welcome to Embracing Life Again, where you will receive inspiration through your life's transition. I'm Catherine Coffer, your host, and I just wanted to say hello, and I have a wonderful guest today. She is Christa Rose, and I will be introducing her in a minute. We are going to be talking about grief and how you can transition well from that, from her experiences that she has had. And so also the other thing I wanted to introduce you to, if you are interested in spending time with my miniature horse or my miniature Australian Shepherd, I am more than happy to share them with you. And if you know of someone that needs to be visited in the hospital or assisted living homes or anything like that, just reach out to me at info@embracinglifeagain.com. And what else? I guess. And then, but you do have to be in the Reno area within 100 miles. So that is my only preface that I have for that. So let me bring on Christa. Hey, Christa, great to have you on the show.
Hello, thank you so much for having me, and thank you to your viewers for taking the time and watching us.
Oh, absolutely. So, Miss Christa, I wanted to give them a little bit about you before we get into the interview, if that's okay. So,
Great.
Christa is a distinguished Amazon best-selling author, acclaimed for her book, Skip the Pain, Experience the Pleasure. She teaches others that the way they think, talk, and act creates their reality by using her profound experiences from surviving a head-on collision, having her husband pass away in her arms, and battling a chronic illness. Recognized for her inspirational approach, she serves as a results-oriented speaker, certified coach, health advocate, and nutritionist. So welcome.
Thank you.
So I have some questions for you.
Can't wait.
So, so could you tell the audience your story of you and what makes you so awesome?
Well, thank you. I would be totally honored. So, a little bit about my background. My parents were divorced, and when I was younger, I overheard my mom saying she was a mistake, and really what he was talking about was my brother was only a month old and she got pregnant. So now that I'm older and we talk about that and we laugh, I was a happy surprise, that that can happen. But when I was younger, what do you hear? I'm a mistake. And so if I'm a mistake, I have to fix myself. So if I have to fix myself, I have to do everything perfect. So I continued life trying to be a perfectionist, and that didn't serve me very well. And I ended up, like you said, I had a car accident, and my husband passed away, and I had to really change my mindset in order to get better. Now that I have a chronic illness.
Okay. So, overcoming all those things is what made you so awesome. To be able to teach others how to grieve well and how to still, because so many people these days are so afraid of, if I if I grieve and I get through it, then I'll forget. I'll forget about him and or her. Well, we have a woman audience, so I'll forget about him, and that's not true.
No, it's so not true. And I will say I'm blessed. 7 years later, after my husband passed away, I met my best friend and I did get remarried. And still to this day, on the anniversary of his death, I still feel it. Those memories still come back.
Mhm.
And it is still a difficult time. And it doesn't matter that I got remarried, it didn't replace him at all. It doesn't take away that pain. It just means that I have continued on living instead of staying stuck as the widow. And I mean, I used to be like that. I said, I'll never get married, I'll never have kids. Well, never say never.
So true. Yeah, and the other thing I find is you always have your memories, and they're always in your heart.
Yeah.
So that's what's so important. So you embraced life again, didn't you?
Yeah, you know what? And it's not easy. And I'm not here to preach that, oh, you just get right back up. And it's interesting because like I said, I was a little bit of a perfectionist. So when my husband passed away, we did have a son. He was 4.5. And I thought, okay, I'm going to be perfect. I'm going to be both parents. I'll do everything right. So I actually looked up the grieving process. What are the steps to grieve? And I'm going to do them all and accept it and be better. I'm here to tell you it doesn't quite work that way. For me, anyway, it was like bouncing back and forth from being angry to denial to bargaining to accepting, then back to being angry. And then, and it's okay. And it's okay to do that. And it's okay to be in the middle of the grocery store and hear a song and have a memory and burst out crying. And that's something I wouldn't do before because for me, crying was a weakness when I was younger.
Mm.
Crying was something that you wouldn't express your emotions because it meant that something was wrong in your life. But what I've learned that is when the more I suppress those emotions, the more I try to not think about him. Okay, I'm not going to think about him. The more and more pain it brings up. And when I think about him, I don't want to feel pain. Now I feel love. I feel light and I feel the memories coming back.
I did the same, and some things, what do I want to? So the grieving process, or the different stages, right? It's not necessarily in order, like you were saying, and sometimes you have to spend longer in one of them than another one, and then you'll go back and revisit. um, so there's no really, you have to do it this way,
No.
uh,
And
because
there's
it's
no
the way it
end
was.
date. That's one thing I found. And, I really appreciated the people who would come and say, well, it's been, 6 months. Everything's good now, right?
Are you
Or
over him yet? Are you over it? Yeah.
exactly, you over, let's go out or let's do this. Or everybody wanted to set me up with somebody. I became this
Oh.
like, how about meet so and so? Well, you know what? I'll will meet so and so when I'm ready. And so it felt like I was being pressured to. So again, not only did I lose my husband, I lost my identity of being a wife and a mother. Now I became a widow and a single parent. And there's quite a difference because that's not what I signed up for. I wanted to have the family that I never had.
Yeah.
So when I, did get married, I married somebody who had the same values as me, who had the same inspirations as me, and the same ethics as me. And we wanted to create this family, and we did. So when it ended, um, it wasn't just him that left; it was my whole identity. So I also had to grieve who I was and then learn who I was becoming.
Correct. I did the same thing. It was really hard. I was married for 29 years, but I had known him, oh my gosh, 6 years before that, right? So we had started dating when I was 18. I got married at 22. So it's like, it's been more my life than not. So I really had to dig in, and after grieving, you're right, you have to grieve your loss of who you were together, and then totally refigure out, who am I now and who do I want to be? What excites me? What do I like?
Yeah, yeah, that was a big one, especially since a lot of our friends were couples. So we would go out together, as couples, and then suddenly the phone stopped ringing because, and I understand they were kind of uncomfortable. Would we invite Krista by herself?
Mhm.
And then sometimes they would invite me out, let's, go for dinner.
Mhm.
And I would, really push myself to get out of bed, keep going and living. And I would go, and suddenly I'm sitting there next to some stranger, and they're like, "Oh, we decided to invite so and so," you know. And again, I know these people have good intentions, and for all the listeners, I know you guys have amazing intentions, but it's okay not to. It's okay to just say, "Hey, Krista, do you want to go for a coffee?" Or you don't have to dance around the idea that he died. It's okay to acknowledge, how are you feeling today? Is it been, it's been hard. I know it's been 6 months or whatever. You don't have to pretend that it didn't happen.
Right. I had to teach people what to say or what questions to ask me, because so many of them have no idea, and they say the silliest things that you're just like, I can't believe you just said that. And so then I had to teach them. I said, so when you ask me how I am, will you ask me this way? And
Yeah.
it's whatever way you want to be asked. So my way may not be your way.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I did. And then the other thing is, I just remained friends with the women of the couples,
Yeah.
because the men were somewhat uncomfortable, because they were also grieving, because a lot of them were my husband's good friends too, right? So
Absolutely.
they had a harder time also just seeing me by me.
Yeah, yeah, that happened as well. And it's funny because the true friends really stuck by me, and the other ones who we thought were friends, but really they're more acquaintances, they seem to drop off. And that's okay. Maybe we outgrew each other.
Mhm.
And like you said, they were grieving, themselves, and they were closer to him. So the relationship, again, not only did I lose him and I lost my identity of being, a wife and a mother, and then you start losing your connections,
Right.
your circle. So there's a lot of different levels of grieving, and a lot of people don't realize that. They think it's only the person, but
Hmm.
there's so much more that goes into it.
Yeah, the more you get through it, the more layers that you're going, oh boy, this is harder than you're thinking, right?
Yeah.
And you just keep plugging along every day, trying to just figure things out.
Yeah, and that was difficult for me in the beginning, and even moving forward, and even now, sometimes I get stuck. You get stuck in a rut. It's interesting because there's a study, and it really blew me away that most people in life are not happy. And
Oh, it's
people
so sad.
go around and they smile, and you look at their social media and everybody's, smiling, the dog smiling, and somebody was behind that, camera shaking something, or they took 20 million pictures to get that perfect picture. And
Hmm.
it's okay because this perfect picture, life really doesn't happen. It doesn't really exist. So for me, I thought I needed that in order to be happy. So once I started realizing that, wait, everybody else isn't always in this state of excitement and joy and happiness and bliss, then I was able to accept that I don't have to put that pressure on myself either.
Right.
So, but then the balancing act of not going down into a depression, because not only if I would be feeling down, it would make my thoughts start going dark, and then I'd feel sorry for myself, and then I would be a victim, and then I would start acting that way, and you see how the ball kind of rolls. So I really had to check my thoughts a lot. And when you wake up in the morning, I would have a great sleep and I wake up all refreshed. And 2 minutes later, I start thinking of all the crazy things that happened the day before. And I start feeling, angry, or, someone said something to me and I feel sorry for myself. None of that is happening. That happened yesterday. 2 minutes ago, I felt good. So I had a good sleep. So it's really about trying to stay in the moment, trying to look at what's happening right now and moving forward. Because so much of my time was spent worrying about things that were out of my control and usually never happened.
True.
Once I realized that, I was able to back up for a minute and say, what am I thinking? And then I'd ask myself, what do I want to think instead?
That's a good. That's good. It's really good. So, when did you give yourself permission to live your best life?
I was very fortunate, and this is such an important question, and I'm really going to ask your listeners to please take this to heart. When my husband was getting sick, he had leukemia. We only knew for 2 weeks. So, but having said this, don't wait till you're sick. Have this conversation when you're healthy or you're, past assault. He actually said, if I don't make it, it's okay to get remarried. It's okay to go and move on. You don't have to. We lived on a farm. You don't have to live on a farm. I didn't know a soybean from a kidney bean. He was a farmer. I was a city girl. He says, you can sell a farm, you can live in a condo, you can do whatever you want. So he gave me that permission. And I'm like, no, 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 I'll never do that. And he says, well, what happened if a year before that I was in my car accident? He goes, what if you would have suddenly died? Because I did have a friend who died in a car accident. And he says, would you have wanted me to get remarried? We were in our 20s. And I said, it is so true. Yes, I would want that for you. And I would want you to, continue living, not stay in this. I would want you to be happy. And, I made a joke. I said, as long as she's not prettier than me, but it broke the ice. But this is a conversation that I really wish people would have when they're healthy, when they're happy, when you're going through, down the road, because you don't know in a single second, as you know, that life can change on a dime. So if what you don't know, you don't know. So if you don't tell your partner what you feel and what you want for them, you release them from any feelings of guilt or shame. After, we all know we're going to die. That's
That's
one
a
thing is
given.
guaranteed. That's definitely guaranteed. So if you can take a second after the show, go over to your spouse if you have one and say, just to let you know, they might think, where did you get this? Well, they're going to jump on the show. You're going to forward this to them and they're going to watch it and they'll go, oh, I get it. Because that enabled me to move on and not have that guilt. And so it basically, I was able to give myself permission to move on and start focusing on what do I really want to do? What really makes me happy? And that's challenging.
It is, and I'm so happy that my husband had a premonition that something was going to happen, and so he told me everything he wanted, and I'm just like, okay, okay, because I didn't know it was a premonition. I just thought, oh, he's just being silly today, but no. 2 weeks later, it's exactly almost what he said would
Wow.
happen. So it was just like, so I'm really glad that he did say
Yeah.
something to me. So it just made it easier. Still
Yeah.
hard, but it just made it easier. So I knew I was making right decisions for what he wanted.
Yes.
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 And then I
That
had
is
to
so
figure out
important.
what's best for me right after.
Yeah. And
And
those are two gifts that both our husbands gave us. So, like I said, everybody rewatch this with their spouse and, really realize that the gift of life you're going to give the other person, um, if that day comes, or vice versa. So,
mhm,
yeah, that was a really strong, important part that I think is, was great that we brought up.
right. So, have you experienced self-doubt, fear, and or resistance since you stepped forward into your path that you're in now?
Absolutely. I had what is called imposter syndrome. So I thought, who am I to talk about whatever? Who am I to give advice because of all the losses I had?
Mhm,
Then I had to start realizing I am someone who can give advice, can help somebody. And as I started becoming more and more open to that, I had to get out of my comfort zone. That was
mm,
my biggest thing. So when I was born, I was only born with 10% hearing. So I had to learn how to talk again until grade eight. I stopped speech language classes because a kid made fun of me, and
mhm,
then 6 years ago I couldn't talk or walk. I couldn't do up a zipper. I have a really rare disease. I'd like to bring a little awareness to it. It's called anti-GAD 65 and stiff person syndrome. So that was only 6 years ago. I had to then relearn how to
mm,
talk and walk. And I'm lucky that I would ask people, like close friends who would be honest with me,
mhm.
can you really understand me? How am I really talking? And they would say, you're missing about every fourth word. Then I can become conscious about it and then working on it. And now I'm able to get out of my comfort zone and not, worry so much about that, and hopefully inspire other people to keep getting out of their comfort zone and saying yes, show up. And you never know how you're literally going to change someone's life.
That's true. I've had people go, "Oh, everybody has to hear your story," and I'm like, "Why do they need to hear my story?" I didn't understand the significance of it until, um, like, people that I do my therapy with my horse and my dog. They're like, "You have to do this," and I'm like, TV was not anything that was even in my repertoire. I'm like, really? I'm a realtor. How would I go from realtor to TV show host, right? And so talk about your comfort zone.
Yeah,
I
yeah, no,
hated
it's
being on
fantastic.
camera. I didn't like doing videos, and because I'm not a wordsmith, I don't always say things correctly. And and I say and write a lot, right?
I was
So it's
just going to say,
right,
right?
right. So it's like that's just my personality. So okay, if they can't
And
handle it.
that's what makes us real and makes it authentic. And I think that's what makes your show so special is not only are you bringing, awareness and hope to other people, but you're so authentic, to speak with. And the guests that you have on the shows I've watched that you've had are authentic as well.
Yes,
So I think that's really, really important.
it's important to me, right? I like everyone to be fun and interesting, as interesting as it can be, the topic, right? So I want
Yes,
my um, guests to have personality and then just have something really good to share instead of just speaking at you, right?
absolutely.
Right. So, what dreams do you live into each day, and what calls you forward into doing the hard and amazing things?
Oh, wow, that's a great question.
Mm,
So, because I was sick for so long, and like I said, I couldn't walk or talk, I have two more girls, um, and with my husband, and I was basically in a catatonic state.
oh,
So, to step into my dream was to breathe, was to walk,
mm,
was to talk. And sometimes I still go back. I'll may have a seizure episode and I have to think about what triggered that. And you know what? I can almost guarantee that I overdid it the day before, or I said yes way too many times, and I wouldn't pay attention to my body. I
Mm.
wouldn't put the right things in it. I would just be grabbing things, or I just wouldn't even eat, for hours, except maybe a couple extra, cups of coffee. And then
Mhm.
I would wonder why I would start, going down. So really stepping into who I am as a person, what I want to be. And so, and by doing that, again, I have this, I like acronyms. So if I can just share the acronym WAIT and what that stands for, I'll say wait. What am I thinking? And again, checking my thoughts. Am I focusing on what I want, or am I focusing on what I don't want? If you think about it, people come around and usually they want to focus on everything wrong.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to do, but how about if we start focusing on things that are right? And then I also say, why am I talking? Again, wait, because we often just jump into a conversation. And if you ever notice, a bunch of people come together, and what do they love to do? They love to complain. Oh my goodness, this hurts. Or my mother's driving me crazy. Someone stole my alien child, and it's like a competition. Who has the worst life? And if you stop and say, wait, why am I talking? What am I adding to this? Am I gossiping, or am I spreading
Mhm.
love? And then the third one is what actions I'm taking. So, am I doing actions out of kindness and love, or am I doing things for myself? And that all creates literally your reality. And that's really how I stepped into my dream. And I have to put that in practice every single day.
How do you remember to do that every single day?
So it becomes almost a habit. Anything we do, we have to repeat over and over.
Mm.
And I'm not perfect, and I don't do that every day. There are some days that, I wake up and there'll be a trigger, there'll be a memory. I
Mhm.
may just physically be feeling sick, and my mood will also go down. So, having said that, it's not easy, but since I've been doing it, and since I really wrote about this in a whole chapter in my book, and I think that's really what helped, is because I was able to not only write it, but really live it and believe it. Because we almost become addicted to living a life that we don't like. So when we really stop and think about it, how can we change that? Because it's a habit. We just get in the habit of living a life that we're not happy. So by consciously choosing what we're thinking, how we're talking, how we're acting, and creating a life that you not only love but you actually like.
Mhm. So true. So, what is one thing that you would like our audience who are on the fence about taking the leap to embrace life again,
Yeah,
um, live the life that is inspired by their purpose?
yeah, that is fantastic. The advice I would give is you never know who you're going to inspire or whose life you're going to change. So if you don't put yourself out there, if you don't speak up, if you don't embrace other people, hold space for them to be themselves, then that person may not, be able to continue on. So they look at you and they're inspired by you. So that's really, if you think about it, it's not only about yourself, it's about opening yourself up. And again, you never know. I have been shocked the amount of people who've told me, how I've inspired them or changed their lives or different things like that. And it's
Mhm.
definitely not an ego thing. I'm just grateful that I'm here and I'm able to do that. And that's how I step into my purpose.
And I just lost my thought about that. It's a choice every day, and God put you here on earth because only you can affect who He needs you to affect. Your
Yeah,
story can only affect the people, right? That
yeah,
that you are going to run into.
Yeah.
Nobody can tell my story. So I'm
Yeah.
affecting certain people. You're affecting a certain amount of people.
Yeah.
So we all have our own destiny. All have our own path that we supposed to take to be able to help people and show our love to people, and right.
Yeah. And you
Yeah.
know what? I think that the biggest gift is so other people and myself know you're not alone.
Oh,
And
so
so when you share what you're going through, I know I'm not alone. When I share what I've gone through, someone out there right now who's watching knows that they're not alone. And that's one of the biggest gifts that I found. And that's one of the reasons why I keep stepping out of my comfort zone,
mm,
way out of my comfort zone. And because again, not being alone and having that place of that darkness, that deep, sadness,
mm,
we all experience it and it's okay to talk about it and you're not alone. And by saying you're not alone means that there's hope. And
mhm.
I have, again, acronyms. So my
You do have a
hope
hope one.
Hope one, I have a couple. First of all, because I was such a people pleaser, I said, heck over pleasing everyone. So think about that before you say yes and you fill your calendar with everybody else's stuff, but you don't
Mhm.
take care of yourself. And then it goes to hold on, pain ends. And I have a dog who's actually my service dog, and I named her Hope. So I won't forget.
You will not forget that one.
No.
You will not forget that one. So, do you have any other thing that you wanted to bring up before we um, get off today?
I just really want to encourage people to take the time and, first of all, be grateful because I'm going to say that your perception can totally change your whole life. So for instance, if it wasn't for my car accident, I wouldn't have valued time. If it wasn't for my husband passing away and dying in my arms, I wouldn't have valued love. And if I didn't have this illness, I wouldn't value health. So being grateful even for the breath we have is something. And what you have right now, no matter where you are, is someone else's dream. So remember that.
Wow. I know COVID has really affected people with regards to feeling alone and um, just really hopeless.
Yeah.
So that's really good. And a lot of times when I'm going on the negative end, if I just go and I just put on uplifting music,
Music.
or I dance around because I like to dance. So I'll
Me
just put on
too.
my AirPods and dance around, and my dog gets out his ball and wants to play with me. So that even because I'm alone right now, right? I'm alone
Mhm.
in my house. I do not have anyone else living with me. So a lot
Mhm.
of times I will feel like, oh, I'm all alone. But then I have to go outside and then I'll knock on my neighbor's door or do something. But just
Yeah.
make sure that you're engaging with people. And if you need something, ask. And I know it's so hard for people to ask. I had to learn. I had to learn to ask because I never asked. Because I
Yeah,
was
me
always
too.
taught children should be heard, shouldn't be seen, not heard. So I
Yeah.
was never really allowed, right? So one of my counselors was like, you need to learn to ask for what you need. And I'm like, I'm not used to that. I'm used to serving. I'm used to
Yes.
doing everything, right? I'm not used to receiving.
Yeah.
So I
That's where you
know
had to
how
say
hard
heck
people
over
need.
pleasing everyone.
Yes. Oh, total people. I was a total people pleaser, codependent, and oh yeah, all that. So
Definitely.
had to work through that. That's
Yeah.
been a fun journey in itself. So, so Miss Krista, how can we get in touch with you?
The best way would probably be through my website, and it's christarose.com. And you can see my name, and if you forget it, my mom would tell you it's Christ with an A, and please don't hold me to that standard. Uh, that's how it's spelled, Christa, Rose.com. And I
Awesome.
have my Facebook, Instagram, email, LinkedIn, TikTok, everything. So yeah, you can get a hold of me anyway through there. My book, Skip the Pain, Experience the Pleasure, is on every platform, is on Amazon, but Barnes and Noble, Indigo, Walmart, really literally everywhere. But usually wherever you are,
Right.
Amazon.
Okay.
But you
I
can
didn't know if
also
there's
get
a
it
better
through,
place than
yeah,
other.
you could also get it through my website as well. So either way.
Okay. Okay. And then you have an ebook that
Yeah.
people can go and it's about your words and how important they are.
Yeah, so I realized how the power our words are, not only to other people, but to ourselves, what we say to ourselves. I'll leave some dishes in the sink and I'll think, oh my goodness, everyone's going to think I'm a slob. No, they're not. So, yes, I wrote an ebook. It's called The Power of Your Word. So, go to my website, christarose.com. And if you press, contact me and free gift, put it in there and you will be able to download that free gift. So it's something that I really felt strongly that I wanted people to realize how powerful they are and how powerful their words are.
That is amazing. Well, I want to thank you so much for being on the show tonight. And I thoroughly enjoyed you. And I will have you on again,
Yes.
probably when we get to how to date after being a widow. We're gonna tackle that one someday. So, thank you so much, and wish you all the best. And I will see you guys later.
Thank you so much. Thank you to your viewers too.
Coming up next, Adventures with Theo and Zebby, right here on Embracing Life Again with Catherine Koffer.
Say hi. I don't interrupt anything that you guys are doing.
You are part of it.
Oh no, it's not an interruption. We're here for you.
Yes. Okay, this is Zebby. He's a miniature horse. He's 10 years old, absolutely.
How can I say hi?
Oh, just go, you can go here, here. Just, they don't look straight on, they look from their eyes this way. So, hi guys, how are you? He's mine. And he's for you to bring you smiles today.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we're here to bring everybody smiles. Yeah, so we're gonna go in the courtyard. You guys have a party? Awesome.
Oh, that's so
Whose birthday? Oh, very good. One of your friends? Nice. Nice.
How old?
He's 10. Yep. They usually live until 45.
Really?
Miniature horses, yeah.
Oh, what's his name?
Zebedee.
Zebedee. Oh, how sweet. Oh.
Hi. You got a fun little ankle?
Thank you.
Me.
Thank you so much.
Neat.
That's so
Thank
awesome.
You guys. Hi.
I've never.
He is a miniature horse. Oh, and thank you. Yeah. Yes, you may.
What's her name?
Oh, Zebedee. Yeah, but I call him Zebedee. I'm not sure why he wants to move at the moment. Hold on.
I know you're good.
Hopefully. I don't know if he just wants to keep walking or
So
not.
I've never heard of this here.
Yeah, so he goes into hospitals, he goes into schools, he goes everywhere. I have introduced him into too.
The horse girls. It's like,
Oh, then she'll tell me all her horse stories. Because that's what they do.
she's like, how they sit her in when she told me that she loves me.
Yeah, he gives hugs and kisses.
You can say hi if you want to.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
Yeah.
Go put these right in the car.
He's
Yeah, go
here
for it.
you.
We'll be here.
Hi. He's a therapy horse, and I'm just giving people therapy today. Yep, I want to bring people smiles and hope.
I love
We need
that.
it. So he does go into elderly care. He does do dementia.
She lives at
Memory
Clearwater.
care.
Have you ever been into
I
Clearwater?
have, but he has.
Do you want to pet him? Or her?
He's like, nope, I don't think so. It is a boy.
It's a boy. What's his name?
Zebedee. Do you have any horse stories? Usually they'll like, oh, I had a horse and they told me a story.
You never had a horse. You grew up in Boston.
Oh, you want your first. Yep, so he's a unicorn today.
So did you have like?
Oh yes.
Cribbins was about potty and then.
About 2 years. Yeah. So he started doing therapy at 3.
How long do horses like tenure?
Well, normal horses, 25, 30 years. Minis, 45. 45. Yeah. Even though they're dwarfed and stuff. Yeah.
He's a mini horse.
Yes, he's a honey. I shrunk the horse.
Oh, hello. Hello, horse.
Yeah, you guys look great.
How old are you?
He's 10.
10.
Yes, which is still
Oh,
young
really?
for a mini. Very young.
How long is it gonna live?
45. Not
Whoa.
longer than me.
Oh, longer than you.
Well, by the
Whoa.
time he's aged, yes, I'll probably gone.
Yeah. You are 10 years old.
He likes you, sweetheart. He likes you.
Feel free to say hi. He's really sweet.
Hi.
Hey, you come here.
You can take pictures if you want. You can pet him. You can take pictures. Here. Hi.
Oh,
How are
yeah.
you? Good to meet
He
you.
is 10 years old.
Yes.
My wife wants a dog just like that.
Yeah.
So cute.
Yeah. Yep, he's a honey. I shrunk the horse. If you're old enough to know that movie. Unfortunately, I know it's true.
It's actually very curious. That's usually the reaction is confusion by dogs. Like, we'll take him on hikes and stuff.
Yep. You want to pet the little boy?
Pretty standard reaction from most dogs then.
Yeah.
Just general
Someone
uncertainty.
asked
Actually, a little more brave than normal.
Oh, this guy.
Yeah.
About therapy ponies
Yes.
because she's talking about therapy ponies in public libraries. She's like, what do you do if someone has a therapy, like an emotional support pony?
That's all they do.
Yeah.
This is what they do. You can love on them, and they reduce your stress level.
I feel significantly less stressed
Yep.
actually.
Yep. Because their heartbeat is way less than ours.
Oh, really?
So ours
Okay.
matches theirs.
Oh.
So it automatically gives you endorphins to just.
So interesting.
Yeah. So
Thank you so much
only
for
horse
this.
will. Most animals do that, but horses in particular.
Yeah.
That's why they're concerned. I brought him here to give you smiles.
I
He's
no
gonna
fear,
kiss
no
you.
whatever.
He's gonna kiss you. Oh, what did you do to your arm, sweetheart?
What happened to your
What happened? Oh, that darn slide.
You wanna touch him, dear? Be gentle, okay? Archie, you wanna touch him? You can be gentle.
What's your first name?
This is Theo. Theodore.
Okay, so
And this
my
is
miniature Australian Shepherd, his name is Theodore.
Oh, really?
That's why I'm like, I thought I heard Theo in there. So what did you do to your little leg?
I broke my foot running the other day.
How do you break it running? Did you like stumble? Oh, honey. Ow. Oh, love your born today. Yeah. Okay. This is Zebedee. No, I don't let anybody ride him since he's a therapy horse. He is here to bring you smiles. What's his name? Zebedee.
Looks like a funny unicorn.
Because I wanted his back to stay all straight. Why? You want to pet him? No, but that's a piece of paper. He will live 45 years. Yeah, so he's a baby. He's 10. What's the name? Zebedee? Zebedee? Hello? Look at you. Yes, he's trying to bring you a smile. He thinks that's real grass. So he keeps wanting to go to it. It's like, grass. Go give you kisses. You won't bite. He won't bite. He's very well trained. He will not do that. He goes into schools and hospitals and all places, so he has to be very well trained. I know, I'm sorry. I Yes. And restaurants, workplaces,
Yeah.
Oh, this should be interesting.
He just got bum rushed by like 12 little girls. So.
Yeah, and he didn't even move.
I just don't want to see him. He seems like really chill.
He goes everywhere. His nose is getting sniffing. Yep, he's a sniffing. This is Zebedee.
Zebedee, can you say Zebedee? Look, she wants to pet him too. Gotta let her in.
Oh, you can hug him. He'll let you hug him if you want to.
Shut up.
Oh, he thinks you have a treat.
Oh, I wish I had a treat.
We have a treat in the bucket.
Oh, cute.
You see it? See?
Come here, Lolo. You gotta go back to the party. Harlow.
See? You see it?
Harlow, we gotta go back to the party.
Yeah. No.
Cute. Little purple boots.
He's fine. He's a therapy horse, so. You've taken the first step to embracing life again. Let's continue to break barriers, find joy, and dream without limits. Join us next time, and let's discover inspiration through every transition together.